So you guys, I finally did it. I joined the productivity cycles and got myself a sit stand or an adjustable desk. And after 6 months, I think I have enough experience to help you decide whether or not you need one. But before we move on, I need to mention that this video is not sponsored. In fact, there is nothing to sponsor. I don't even know what brand made the one that I'm using right now. So this is just about adjustable desks in general. Do they improve productivity? Are there any noticeable health benefits? Does it matter if you get a cheap or an expensive one? What to expect at different price ranges? Mistakes that I made that maybe you can avoid? And is it even worth it? What drove me to join the adjustable desk gang is that early last year, 2024, I started having sharp pains right in the middle of my back, and it was obvious that years of sitting as I work from home was beginning to catch up on me. For so many years of working from home, I've always had a fixed desk, and I won't lie, there were times when I wanted to continue working, but my back would be killing me, and I would just wish I had an adjustable desk to continue working while standing. That said, I do think the answer is yes. Adjustable desks do improve your productivity because if you think about it, if you work for say 45 minutes before you take a break, and then 20 minutes in, you start to feel a back pain like I used to, you're not necessarily tired, but you could be forced to take a break. But if you had an adjustable desk, you could simply switch to a standing position and even get some stretches and some movement while still working. So for that reason, I'd say yes, using an adjustable desk has not only improved my productivity, but have actually made me enjoy my work more. According to Harvard Health Online, swapping even just a few minutes of sitting with movement may lead to tangible improvements in heart health. And there are so many studies that have linked health benefits to alternating between sitting and standing or getting some form of movement while working, especially for digital professionals. And some of the health benefits include reduced risk of repetitive strain injury, RSI, the back, the waist, the neck, and the wrist being the usual victims. And there's also reduced risk of weight gain, improved posture, improved energy and focus levels, stress reduction, and improvement of your mood. Now, I'm not a health expert by any stretch of the imagination, but it's a no-brainer that adjustable desks will improve your health in one way or another. And I have personally noticed that my back and waist pains from prolonged periods of sitting are now gone. So yes, there are noticeable health benefits in my experience. Did you know that leaving a like, a comment, and a subscribe, I don't know where I was going with this. Just do those things. If you search adjustable desks on Amazon, you will find desks from as low as $100 all the way up to almost $10,000. And to make it make sense, let's break it down to cheap, mid, and expensive. Cheap being $100 to $300, $300 to $1,000 we will consider mid-range, and then anything above $1,000 we are going to consider expensive. I bought the desk I'm currently using for $300 or 500,000 Nigerian naira. So it's one of the cheap ones. But one thing I've noticed when it comes to these desks is that even at the lower prices, you can still get surprisingly good desks. Unless you want, specific features, brands, designs, quality, or just want to splurge on the latest and greatest, I think the mid-range desks from around $300 to $1,000 will serve you well. Which brings us to what to expect at different price ranges. On the lower price range of under $300 like mine, expect a basic adjustable desk with little to no fancy features like cable management, drawers, special designs, and stuff like that. At around $300 to $1,000, which is the range I think you will get the most value for money, you will find really great looking, strong desks that you will not feel a need to replace anytime soon. And from $1,000 and above, expect to find desks with great build quality, weird designs, and all the bells and whistles that you may or may not need. My $300 desk is about 55 inches or 4.5 feet in length and about 28 inches or 2.3 feet deep with a thickness of about 3 centimeters. The desk fully extends to a height of 47 inches or 3.9 feet. There are three programmable buttons to quickly adjust the table height. To program the heights, I simply use the up and down buttons to take the desk to a desired height. Then I press and hold any of the numbered buttons to save the current desk height to that number. And then the screen blinks for a few seconds. And now, anytime I press that number, the desk is adjusted to that height. I mostly use two presets, one for sitting and another for standing positions. A few other accessories that the desk came with are a cup holder and a headphone holder. It came with no cable management system, and I had to get a $20 cable management rack and some double-sided adhesive tapes to stick up my cables, docking station, and other accessories under the table to achieve a semi-decent cable management. And that's about it. Oh, my monitor stand is a DIY thing I made to create space for my MIDI keyboard. There was literally no room for my 43-inch TV that I use as a monitor and my MIDI keyboard that I have to have quick access to. Which brings me to the mistakes that I made that maybe you can avoid. Now, the first mistake was size. My previous fixed custom designed desk measures about 4 feet. So I figured getting something slightly longer, like 4.5 feet, will give me plenty of space to hold my 45-inch TV and my huge Yamaha HS8 speakers. Sadly, my blind estimation didn't work out. I had to get separate monitor stands to hold up the HS8s. So my advice is lay out your accessories and try as much as possible to measure exactly how much space you will need. And if in doubt, just go for bigger, as long as you have the room size. It's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. Mistake number 2 is not planning out my cable management from the outset. But thankfully, there are tons of cheap accessories to help with that. Regardless of the kind of table you get, you are going to find things to help you do your cable management. But if you have the budget, it's well worth it to consider desks that come with some type of cable management system. And while we're on the topic of mistakes, here are a few things not to obsess about when getting an adjustable desk. The first one is stability. Before buying my desk, I went to a shop to get a feel of these things firsthand, to shake them around like most reviewers do in YouTube videos. And I noticed that these desks generally have some wobble, because if you shake something, it will wobble. But I don't think the wobbling is as terrible as some videos make them out to be, even the cheap ones that I checked out. On my desk, I mostly move my mouse around, type on my keyboard, and play the keyboard when I'm making music, which is about the most aggressive activity I do on the desk. And I know that stuff like that is what the vast majority of people will be doing on their desk. And I struggle to see a scenario where you are, shaking your desk back and forth like it owes you money and is refusing to pay. Now, I'm not saying that stability is not important. It is, but it's often over-exaggerated is what I'm saying. Every desk will wobble when you shake it. So just find one that is stable enough to do the kinds of tasks that you need it for. The second thing is brand names. Whenever you buy a branded product, at least 20 to 30% of the amount you paid is for the logo instead of actual value. So one thing I never obsess about is buying specific brands simply because they are popular or they are the industry standard, or it just shows up again and again on every YouTube video in my research. Now, again, I am not saying you should never buy popular brands. They're popular for a reason. I'm only saying instead of buying solely because it's a popular brand, you should instead look at your specific needs, the quality you're going for, the features you want, and the best value for your budget. And also use your common sense instead of buying based on emotions. I can tell you that getting a sit-stand desk is one of those things that you will feel little to no buyer's remorse, because once you start using it, you will wonder how you've managed to survive without it, especially if you've never used one before.